What's up, y'all? It's TTC, aka the ThunderConductor, and we back for another YouTube video and Twitch stream. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow and ring the bell. We do this twice a week on YouTube and once a week on Twitch, so let's get straight into it. I got a question for y'all. What is your favorite 7-mana plus commander? Right now, we have a plethora in the casual, but in the cEDH, we really have some newer upcomers. Atrax has been taken over since 2023, and we also have the new Atali, the 7-mana. Come on, it's just mono red with green. Come on, dude, it's amazing. But I got something better for y'all that I want to show you all with my man Logan. I want to show you all some Maelstrom Wander. Now, hold up. I know y'all saying, but that's the casual. No. Today, I'm going to introduce my friend Logan to really show us how powerful Maelstrom Wander is in cEDH. You there, brother?
Hey, man, I'm here.
All right, cool, man. Talk to me. How did you get into cEDH? And even more question, how did you turn this casual commander into a cEDH powerhouse, man?
Yeah, so I've been playing cEDH about 8 months, and I've been playing Magic overall almost 2 years now.
Cool.
But yeah, I started with kind of traditional meta cEDH stuff, but really I'm just a brewer at heart, so I really like making my own stuff, messing around with like the bleeding edge, whatever's coming out in the latest set and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But I did miss some of the older commanders because I wasn't playing at that time. So I know Maelstrom Wanderers from a few years back, but I'm like, okay, well, if he saw play back then, before we had all this new stuff from like Lord of the Rings, we didn't have the One Ring, we didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like what kind of tools did it get recently? Because what cEDH is doing right now is really like focusing on the strong meta decks and like the new tools for that, but they're not revisiting older commanders that might be good for one reason or another.
Yes. I agree. Yeah.
So this is one of those decks. It's kind of my baby at the moment. I've been playing it, practicing for a couple local tournaments that are coming up at the beginning of June.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
I love to hear that, and I love your point you brought up about bringing back the old commanders. Like a key example of this that actually has seen a reoccurrence is Derevi. So everyone knew Derevi back in the day as this Stax commander, and you can use like these Stax pieces that basically say like stasis, for example, that say your permanents don't untap, and you could break parity on that with Derevi. And then over time, it just got hated at the meta because there was better things to be doing. Lo and behold, though, you brought up one of the key cards. The One Ring came out, and now it became this 2-card combo where if you can hit some opponent with the Derevi and a couple like cheap like creatures, at that point now you're drawing anywhere from 3 to 20 cards, and at that point you just got ad nauseum in a non-black deck. So I love
exactly. So like Derevi is actually a really good example of this because it was played in such a way that was different back when it came out, like you said, Stax. But now it's a mid-range creature combo deck, sometimes turbo, depends on how quickly you can get to its pieces. But it's very hard to interact with because it's mostly creatures and lands and things like that. So it's seeing resurgence, and I think that there is some room for this deck. I think it kind of depends on your local meta too, but it is a bit different. So
no, 100%. As people know on this channel, though, I absolutely love these off the beaten path commanders because it really can sneak up on people. Sometimes they will be more fringe, sometimes they will be like, oh, whatever. But then sometimes they'll be like, oh shit, how do we not see this? Like, where did this commander come from? And they just completely throw the metal for a complete whirl, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to just take a second with the folks just to let them know what Maelstrom Wanderer does. It is a legendary creature, 7/5. So the booty's a little weaker, but that power is crazy. That right hook, you better watch out. It gives your creatures haste, and it has Cascade. And if you are not familiar with Cascade does, it says when you cast this spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost, put the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order, then do it again. That's what the Cascade comes in. And as we brought up in the beginning, this is not a cheap commander. So it costs 5 colorless and Teamer, green, blue, and red. So Logan, talk to me, brother. Like 8 mana, like why should people choose to run this over the Atraxas? Over, for example, you have in the primer here, it's like a Tali, but with blue. Like, why should they play this over a Tali? Like, talk to me, brother.
So you get a little bit of the interaction in card draw from blue.
Okay.
Basically, you know have you ever seen the meme that's like the Magic the Gathering iceberg, and it's like, you know, there's like level 0 is like right on the top,
right,
and then it goes so deep, there's like all these different layers and stuff.
Yes.
Well, I think with this deck there's a little bit, right? So you can look at the commander, and the first thing you notice is the casting cost. You're like, holy crap, man, this is uncastable in cEDH. And okay, well, that it is hard to cast. There's no way around it. But if you can cast it, the cool thing is that Cascade is a cast trigger. It's not a ETB. So when I cast this, I'm guaranteed 2 Cascades. Now, someone can interact with those spells that are being cast from Cascade. Yes. Yeah. But then they essentially have 3 things to contend with for 8 mana. Nothing in this deck costs more. Nothing in this deck costs more than 7. So everything is cascadable in this. Okay. I do only run a few counter spells, which, like, if you hit a counter spell off Cascade, it doesn't do anything. It just goes to the bottom of your library, and then you go to the next one. So I don't want to be hitting those spells, but I also want to be such a problem at the table where I'm using those spells to more of defend myself than prevent somebody else's win.
Yeah, I definitely hear you there.
Then the other layer of this is taking advantage of every single thing that's printed on the commander, which there's not a lot, to be fair, but the other thing is creatures you control have haste.
Yes.
So all of our dorks that we cascade into have haste. Anything that we have, like Savala, for example, if you cascade into Savala and then Maelstrom Wanderer ETBs, you probably draw a card and then tap Savala for net 6 mana.
Oh shit. Okay. I hear you. That's hot, bro. That's hot. Okay.
Right.
Dude,
so maximizing our value off of the cascades and maximizing what the commander is capable of and what it enables.
Yes.
Is kind of the name of the game. So we're playing green, blue, red. In the cards I'm looking for in those colors, green I'm looking for ramp and draw. Blue I'm looking for counter spells and draw.
Okay.
Red I'm looking for combos, things like Dockside, just wheeling myself if I need to with like Brass's Tunnel Grinder or something like that.
Yes.
Just try to keep the momentum moving.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we run a lot of creature-based combos in the deck, so hopefully they're not really interactable or they're harder to interact with.
Yes. No, those are great points. I'm going to tell you why I love Maelstrom. Your specific Maelstrom Wanderer brew. I love it because a lot of people are very high on Atali right now. And for me, I have a background in engineering and I love music. And though I have this creativity background, I also have a very structured background with that engineering background. And one thing I love is that you're leaning on your own deck and not just your opponent's deck. Granted, Atali does hit, your opponent, like your own cards. But for me, I love that Maelstrom Wanderer basically says, no, like I can so perfectly sculpt my deck. I don't have to lean on my opponents because there are times where Atali will be bad because the worse your opponent's decks are, or their 99s are, the worse your Atali deck's going to come out. So I don't have to go against a meta deck in order to be successful. I can make my deck successful by being great myself. And that's what I love about this deck. And even just to kind of double down on what you said, he's going to get into it, you all, but the fact that his creatures get haste gives you some of the most disgusting combos possible that I never thought were possible. So we're going to get straight into the win cons. But before we do, if you're looking for ways to support the show, don't worry, we have a plethora. First off, we have our ThunderConductor merch. It's what I wear every day. It feels good, it looks good, and it's what I recommend for you all. We have our ThunderConductor proxies. It's my way to increase access to this amazing format that we call cEDH. Also, we have our ThunderConductor Discord. Come on, join the community. It's all free, and we all always brewing, having a good time, jamming out games. However, if you want deeper access to levels, check us out on Patreon. You can get other perks and just amazing things. everything, and also like getting shout out to our mono red patrons, Scott Mitchell, Wavy Hishira, and Nathan Stridham. You all are awesome, and you keep the lights on in a way that you could not imagine. And last but not least, if you say, hey T's, I'm not trying to get no Patreon, I don't want no merch, and I don't want no proxies right now, but I just want to bless you one time for the fun time. Don't worry, check the link out in the bio and go ahead and buy me a coffee. It keeps me up and keeps the lights on. But with that said, let's get straight into it, brother. Logan, talk to me, man. How are you winning with Maelstrom Wanderer?
All right, so if you take Atali and you look at Atali, Atali wants to food chain and cast Atali infinite times.
Yes.
And like that sounds great, but you're in red green, so you don't have the support of blue.
Yes.
I took that idea and then said, okay, well, I can start with food chain. Because if I can cast Maelstrom Wanderer infinite times from the command zone, I can cascade through my deck, hit whichever spells I want, or all of them, and then play them all.
Got you.
So that's pretty sick. But turns out if you put a card called Nexus of Fate, you just passed it.
Yeah.
If you hit Nexus of Fate, that puts an extra turn on the stack. When that resolves, it gets shuffled back into your library. So the baseline win con of this deck is cast Maelstrom Wanderer infinite times, only elect to cascade into Nexus of Fate, and put infinite copies of Nexus of Fate on the stack, and extra turns. So that's just like the base level of the deck. Got you.
That makes sense. Take extra infinite turns. At that point, you're casting as many creatures as you want. Your commander's a 7/5 beat stick, and if they have any creatures, you can just remove their creatures with the fact that you can cast any of your spells, and that's pretty simple. So we're just killing with commander damage pretty much.
Yeah, so like I said, that's the base level. So I'm running food chain and Squee because Squee is the best food chain target because you can cast him from graveyard or exile. So he's always turned on, basically, instead of Eternal Scourge or Mist Hologriffin, where you can only cast those from exile. So if they get countered, then you're kind of hosed.
Yes.
So that's just kind of the base level. The next one is, okay, let's look at Atali. And obviously he's going to go in the deck. So I'm actually running both Atalis, but really the ETB Atali is the one that we need to look at. You can combo that with a Displacer Kitten and shred everyone's deck without even casting Maelstrom Wanderer.
Got you. So now you're basically telling people, okay, we have for example, a Drannith Magistrate out. You're like, okay, that's cute. I'm still going to win. Kind of thing. You don't need your commander to kill the table at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking for a lot of ways to get around Stax and around, Drannith Magistrate is obviously the worst one.
Yes.
But things like that, we need to get around.
Understood.
So Atali and Displacer Kitten, or just using Displacer Kitten as a blink for value to reset your mana dorks, especially if your commander's on the field.
Yes.
Because they all have haste. So when they re-enter, they're not affected by summoning sickness.
Got you 100%. Okay, cool. I love that. And once again, I love that synergy with haste. Keep going, brother. How are we winning?
So another way to get there is Temur Sabertooth or Cloudstone Curio or Hullbreaker Horror.
Yes.
Just try to go infinite any number of ways. It's actually really cool because Cloudstone Curio is mostly seen as a dockside outlet where you blink dockside back to your hand, recast it, try to go mana positive. Same with Temur Sabertooth. Same thing.
Yeah, I got you, brother. I got you.
Yeah.
You good.
But again, because like if we have haste, we can actually go infinite with just Savala, for example.
Yes.
And Temur Sabertooth and Maelstrom Wanderer. So we can tap Savala for 7, return her to hand, player, tap her for 7, just rinse and repeat. And then we have infinite mana. And then we start returning Maelstrom or whatever.
Can I throw this in there? So I was reading your primer, brother, and I thought it was the most disgusting thing. The Temur Sabertooth Savala combo with when you have the Maelstrom Wanderer out. I'm gonna be honest. The fact that Savala costs 3 plus like the green to activate, and it has haste because of Maelstrom Wanderer, and then just add 2 more to bounce it back to your hand to basically reset it. And the fact that Maelstrom Wanderer has 7 power, meaning from that interaction you're spending 6 but netting 7, meaning and making 7 meaning you're netting 1. I had to say, my guy, that is the most disgusting combo. It was like a match made in heaven. Like, it was made for this deck, and I absolutely loved it, brother. I'm not gonna lie, such a cool line, bro.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool things that just seem to line up, and as you start to play the deck, you're like, this actually seems broken. The fact that there's just so many different crossovers with lines and things like that.
Yes.
What's really cool is, so Hullbreaker also obviously excellent card, but it's 7 mana, so I can cascade into it for free, which is sick. And then if you've got Maelstrom Wanderer on the field, you can actually go infinite with Hullbreaker and like Bloom Tender and Elvish Mystic.
God,
they all have haste, so you can. Then that's like infinite creature casts. They're not gonna exile or counter that. They can't counter that. That's the same way you can with like a Mana Cryptor or whatever. So
right, yes. Once again, leaning on the fact that even though we know creature combos are running the meta right now, or honestly like one of the best ways to combo outside of Thassa's Consultation or Underworld Breach, it's still super hard to interact because creature combos are creature counter magic are so niche, and people they're still not booking up on the creature removal. I don't know why, but they rather run their dispels. But continue, brother.
So yeah, the next thing I think we should look at is probably Kiki Jiki.
Okay, talk to me. Okay.
So Kiki Jiki's a 5 mana 2/2 with haste.
Yes.
Put a copy of a non-legendary onto the field. So at the base level, you can use this to copy things that have ETBs or things that tap for mana, and help you be mana positive or just get some benefit off of that. If you go a little bit deeper, you can actually combo it with a card called Intruder Alarm.
Yes.
Where you can make infinite hasty non-legendaries and just kill with those 2 cards plus a non-legendary. So it's a 2-card combo, 2.5 card combo. There's so many non-legendaries in the deck that you can easily copy. It's really not a huge deal.
It's like Mana Crypt and making infinite mana with Hullbreaker Horror, Mana Crypt, and Mana Vault. You just have them out naturally. I definitely hear you there.
I think the best part of this combo, obviously you can win with this combo, is that the pieces stand on their own. You don't actually need both of them to present a win or get ahead in the game.
Yes.
If you have both, obviously you have a win unless your opponent has 1 ring protection or something like that.
Right.
But Intruder Alarm on its own, if you can tap and untap Selvala, for example, or tap and untap Gwenna constantly with Intruder Alarm,
yes,
you can generate so much value out of that. It's really, really hard to be behind. This is a big mana deck. I mean, it has to be inherently because your commander costs 8.
Exactly. I actually have a question. When it comes to this Kiki Jiki combo, as we know, Kiki Jiki combos with a plethora of pieces, not just Intruder Alarms, like Zealous Conscripts, Combat Celebrant, and the famous Deceiver Exarch from Modern back in the day. And so I want to ask, why are you choosing just to run just Intruder Alarm over including maybe these other pieces, because both blue, red, and green have other cards that could combo with it? Talk to me, brother.
So what I think the issue is that those cards, those red cards that Kiki combos with, we'll take Zealous Conscripts, for example.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anything outside of the Kiki Jiki combo in this deck.
I hear you.
So it's not valuable enough. If you look at the other creatures in the deck, they either produce mana, draw cards, or provide some sort of value. And Zealous Conscripts just doesn't do enough. And it's kind of unfortunate, but I'm also not tutoring for creatures, so I need my combos to be a bit more generic.
I definitely hear what you're saying. And so you're saying basically kind of going back to the argument of, not even the argument, but the statement of the cards are the Intruder Alarm does everything you need it to do by itself and with Kiki, and Kiki Jiki does everything you need to do with it or it with Intruder Alarm, either winning with Intruder Alarm or being this massive value piece of like creating a copy of one of your non-legendary creatures, like to get extra mana, whether it's ramping into your commander or other like super value plays. Where on the flip side, you got Zealous Conscripts, where it's like when it enters the battlefield, gain control, target a permanent until the end of turn, untap that permanent, it gains haste. That's cool for a single turn, but after it does its thing, now it's just a 3/3 with haste that you cast it for 5 mana. In those
I think that the cost of haste is built into that card because it's 5 mana. If it didn't have haste, it'd probably be 4 mana.
Right.
And my commander already gives haste, so to me that ability is a little bit lost, and the card's value is just lowered because of that.
I hear that.
Kiki Jiki Intruder Alarm turns any non-legendary into a combo piece, so that kind of makes that a bit generic, and not in a bad way. But yeah, Intruder Alarm also functions excellently outside of Kiki Jiki as just a value piece.
Got you.
And then I want to kind of relay this to Kinnan, which is obviously right next to you. I'm kind of like watching your stream, but Kinnan is right next to Kiki Jiki, but you'll notice that there's no Basalt Monolith.
Very true. Talk to me.
I don't have an outlet for Basalt Monolith in this deck. There's no outlet for Infinite Colorless.
Understood. That makes sense. So at that point, it's kind of like I play Rionia Fire Dancer as well, and even though mono red or just red in general is just known of the powerful Underworld Breach, you have to run this card as the best card. Or for example, Wheel of Fortune, so powerful, how do you play red without running this card? It's like, we're not comboing off on Underworld Breach. We're not trying to cast a blind will into a table full of white, blue, green, and other and black players that just are just going to be able to win over us as being mono red. So why run a card that we actually can't take the full use of the card? So even though Basalt may help with ramp, it's not even really ramping. It's setting up for another turn, which may just be a little too slow for this deck. If I can ask that, is that what the kind of mindset is, in addition to just not having that colorless outlet?
So yeah, I think the part of the problem that I want to avoid is making things too obvious as well. Because if I'm playing a Basalt Monolith, everyone sees that as the combo piece with Kinnan.
Yes.
If I play Kinnan, they go, Kinnan's bad, but let me wait and save something for Basalt Monolith when that hits.
Right. Kinnan's,
if it never arrives, if it never happens, right, then Kinnan has already been inherently protected.
Exactly. And yeah, I have to say this, I think sometimes that can be a mistake from people. I really think people got to respect the power Kinnan has as just whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent can produce. That being just a super mana dork really cannot be understated. But I mean, when you have a limited number of cards, like what value play is valuable enough that you stop is the question that comes up next. So, and if I'm seeing this deck, unless I've played against it and 10 times and lost to it 10 times, I'm looking like, I can't waste my Swords to Plowshare on this Kinnan, dude. I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this. We got Tyam here doing this, and we got Talion here doing this, and Tim the Crown doing that stuff. Yeah, I completely understand. So yeah,
and that's the thing with like Zealous Conscripts too. Like, everyone knows that card because of Kiki Jiki.
Exactly.
So like, if I include that, then people are going to start looking my way more and going, well, he's building towards a combo. Where if I make the combo so generic that it's like the combo pieces are already on the board, you just don't know they're there. How do you interact with that?
Wow. It's kind of powerful. It's just like, it's a combo piece, and unless the person is drawing a plethora of cards, like, they can't waste the extra interaction to stop the possibility of you comboing off. People like to wait until the last possible second, but if you don't see the combo coming, you'll never know when the last possible second is. Wow.
Yeah, or because there's so many pieces on the board, I can present multiple wins on a single turn. So if the first 1 or 2 are interacted with,
yes,
I've got a third where I can still push it through.
That's good. That's good. Okay, cool. Thank you for that explanation. Like, it makes a lot of sense, and like, there's a lot of people in the community right now that like there's some community of say that no bad cards. There's also some people say no dead cards, and I definitely think you're embodying that very well by choosing to run the Kiki Jiki Intruder Alarm combo. So very good, brother. That's good, man. Keep going. What are some more ways we're winning in this Maelstrom Wanderer list?
So as far as wins go, it's mostly you can do value wins such as Terror of the Peaks and either cast your commander infinitely with Terror of the Peaks on the field and ping everything for 7 repeatedly. Okay. Or Terror of the Peaks is on the field, you have enough things where you can just blink something like with Displacer Kitten. So there's a lot of just sometimes wins are good enough. They don't necessarily have to be an infinite win or like an infinite that goes off and wins you the game. Right. Sometimes doing just enough damage is right there.
Understood.
Yeah. So, for example, Trumpeting Carnosaur is a 7/6 for 6 mana.
Right.
That when it ETBs Discover. Yes. So a lot of times, like I find myself copying it with Kiki Jiki, discovering 5, and then swinging with 2 7/7s per turn.
Fuck. And that's at that point it's technically drawing 1 card because Discover is the what's up, Shake Gently. Thank you for the follow. Because Discover is just a better cascade where you can either cast it or put the card into your hand, and so now you're gaining 1 card per turn and plus throwing out 14 damage per turn. Get the fuck out of here. That's hot, bro. And you can use it to discard. It's a channel ability pretty much as well.
Yeah, you can discard it and target a Draneth or something like that. Ping a Draneth. It's an awesome card.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just such a high value kind of grindy deck that can turbo and combo off. It's really hard to brick because there's so many things that ramp you, draw you cards, that sort of thing.
No, I love that. So I got a question about Terror of the Peaks. So this is a very well-known outlet that I really love. Once again, I'm a Rio my first cEDH commander was Rio Fire Dancer. What's up, Mr. Fabulous? Mr. Fabulous says this deck is silly too good. And Shaky Gently says, what commander is this? So we are doing a deck tech for a cEDH Maelstrom Wanderer deck. If you are not familiar of this in your casual days, what Logan has done has turned this casual commander into a cEDH powerhouse. It is a 7/5 elemental legendary creature that costs 5 and Teamer to cast, so 8 altogether. It gives all of your other creatures haste, and then it has double cascade. Once you cast it, this creature, you will cascade, reveal the top card to your library until you hit something that's 7 or down, and then you'll cascade again for 7 or down. And then Logan has made this so you are able to basically cast your entire library and do very fun things like take infinite turns with Nexus of Fate. You can also, with doing things along like Food Chain to make infinite creature mana, or Hole Breaker Horde to make infinite mana in general, and just a plethora of other combos. You're really able to just take use of very useful wins. We got Shaky saying, in here chilling while grabbing some groceries for our wife to cook dinner before the stream game. Still on for 8:30. Yes, sir. We are for 8:30. And this is Hold'em Proud from your Discord. Yeah. Good to see you again, Shaky. So I have just to get back to this real quick, Logan. When it comes to Terror the Peaks, I absolutely love this. I played Rio Fire Dancer, still play it to this day. May pull it out for tonight. And I used to love this was back in more of the casual days where if you had enough Terror the Peaks combos, the triggers just started to stack on top of each other, and I always loved that because once you have 4 or 5 Terror the Peaks out, they see each other and they just does very disgusting things. So my question for you is like, first of all, have you seen the new Pyrogoyf coming out of Modern Horizons 3?
Let me look. I'm pretty sure I have.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't think I have, actually.
Okay, so what
or at least I can't find it. Go ahead.
You are good, guys. So what this Pyrogoyf does, it is a new card and it's still under speculation, but one of my homies said it's actually been confirmed. What this one does is it is for 3 and a red. It is a creature Logoif. We're just going to leave it like that. Pyrogoif's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. When Pyrogoif or another Logoif creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. So I saw this actually earlier today, and I was like, yo, is this something that you think that may be taking the space of Terror of the Peaks purely because it costs a little bit less and does everything else that you want it to do?
It doesn't quite do everything else I want it to do, because it does care about Lurgoif's ETBing, or itself. Whereas Terror of the Peaks doesn't care about itself ETBing, but it cares about any other creature ETBing. So the casting cost is actually completely irrelevant to me. In this deck, if it's 7 or less, I'm cool. As long as it's not more than 7, where it's not a big deal.
Okay. And that definitely makes a lot of sense. The fact that you can use any creature to trigger Terror of the Peaks versus only Pyrogoif can trigger itself unless you go Lurgoif Tribal, which we're not going to do that. But right. That definitely makes sense. Now, my second question is, we also have there's other creatures that do a very similar thing. For example, Perforus, God of the Forge, that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield, does 2 damage to each opponent. And so I want to ask, out of all these creatures that do a similar thing to Terror of the Peaks, what makes Terror of the Peaks so special that it knocks out any other type of damage outlet finishers?
So let's just compare to Perforos. Perforos cares about devotion, so it's not really a creature if I don't meet that devotion requirement.
Understood.
Terror of the Peaks deals damage to any target, so I can use it in a toolboxy way where I can get rid of the Orchestra Masters, the Dranis, anything that's in my way or preventing a win.
Yes.
So I like that part. And then also it flies, and if I make a copy of it, it's non-legendary. I can make a copy with Kiki Jiki. I get double triggers at minimum. So I think it just kind of fits sort of everything I'm looking for in that slot.
I definitely hear you there, and I'm not gonna lie, that making copies with Terror of the Peaks once again to get those double triggers, because they'll see each other enter, and so you'll basically be doing 10 damage across to any target you want, 2 targets you want. That's hot, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. So I definitely love the inclusion of Terror of the Peaks, man. That's amazing, brother. Cool.
So if you could scroll up to the tagged section, it's just called copy.
Got you. Yeah. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I run 4 copies, not including Kiki Jiki, in this deck.
Yes.
Obviously, Imposter Mech can only copy an opponent's creature, but Phantasmal Image, Phyrexian Metamorph, Curse Mirror, those are all extremely flexible in this. If I need to make copies of the ETB Atali, I can do that. Obviously, it'll die to Legend Rule. I'll still get the ETB effect.
Yes.
I can make copies of Trumpeting Carnosaur. I can make copies of Bloom Tender. I can make copies of Terror of the Peaks. I can copy an opponent's dockside. I can do anything like that. So I'm trying to keep the flexibility of what the deck can do with those copy effects.
Yes.
And it sounds kind of weird, but I'm trying to make the deck so generically good and just consistent.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the use of the word consistent. It really is important, because it is so easy to be like, oh, if I get the gas hand, I can win on turn 1. I'm like, well, how often you get those gas hands? I mean, like one every 25 games. Okay, then that's not viable. That's not a viable deck. Versus, all right, this deck is made to consistently do its thing between turn 2 to turn 4, maybe turn 5 if I gotta maybe take it slower to wait to win after somebody, and I can use the powerful draw engines Blue has to offer, the powerful just copy engines Blue and Red has to offer, and just the tutors from Green just allow me to just really outvalue my opponents. Well, that's a whole different conversation. Well, so I definitely hear what you're saying there. Before we move on, do we have any other win cons you would like to touch on, brother?
I think that's pretty much it. The hard win cons are going to be damage through Terror of the Peaks, or infinite turns with Maelstrom Wander, Kiki Jiki combos. Mostly it's trying to go infinite. And if it doesn't get there, it's got the damage to back it up, where a lot of decks don't have that.
Got you. Okay. I love that. Well, look, we have a lot of ways to win, but we got to get to those win cons. And the most popular way to get to win cons is through tutors. So tell me, what does our tutor package for this deck look like?
This is going to blow your mind. Our tutor package is Worldly Tutor. Actually, that's not true. We run Worldly Tutor, and we run Eldritch Evolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we see two tutors in a teamer deck. So I gotta hear it. Talk to me, brother. Talk to me. What's the thought process?
We're drawing so many cards and cascading into cards or discovering cards.
Yes.
Yes, it's nice to manipulate the top of the library, and a very, very early version of this deck had quite a few more tutors.
Yes.
Like Sylvan Tutor and Mystical Tutor and things, and Gamble. But ultimately, they were just slowing the deck down. So even though I was getting what I wanted on top, but if I'm wasting a cascade on tutoring and then the next cascade I get what I want, it's actually not better than getting two just kind of mid things, because those two mid things might actually let me do it again.
Yes. Wow. That's hot, bro. Okay. All right. That's spicy. So Eldritch Evolution, Worldly Tutors are only tutors, but you saying drawing is the way. It is the way to the light. Okay, so everybody, let's talk about draw engines. Then he has to prove to the court that he's drawing cards. So let's talk about this card draw package. Talk to me, brother.
All right. Actually, if you don't mind, hit a refresh on that real quick. I had one card that was mistagged.
Yes. Valakut.
Yeah.
I got you. I saw it. I was like, we'll talk about that at the end. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you go down to the draw package.
All right now. Yeah, here it comes. Let's talk. Come on.
We're looking at 12 cards that draw.
Yes.
It's a lot of
substantial. Talk to me, brother.
Yeah. So I like self wheels, especially in this deck. So we're looking at Brass's Tunnel Grinder.
Yes.
And Valakut Awakening. So even if you don't discard any cards to those, you still draw one card minimum.
At least, yes.
So they don't really feel bad. Valakut Awakening is even better because it puts them on the bottom.
Yes.
Brass is basically the same card, but should the game go long, you can actually get additional discovers when that flips over.
Yes, flipping over whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana producing to Kutlin the Searing Rift, discover X where X is that spell's mana cost. And that's pretty hot because we have big mana spells. Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going, brother.
So that's dug me out of the mid game quite a few times where I'm like, okay, I have this land, I draw, I've got like an empty hand, and then I draw, I don't know, let's say Niv Mizzet or something like that. I get to not only cast Niv Mizzet, but then discover 6.
Got you. Understood. And yes. Okay. Keep going. Okay, you started to get me there. Keep going, brother.
Yep. So Kiora was a late add into this. Kiora is pretty cool because it cares about creatures ETBing. So we have a lot of that. A lot of creatures with power 4 or greater.
Okay.
When that happens, we draw a card, and it's castable for 2 in a hybrid Simic. So we don't really. It's pretty easy to cast. And then we can untap stuff. We can untap Savala. We can untap Gwenna. Things like that.
Understood. So it is card draw plus ramp in a way because it untaps you float a bunch of mana with Savala, then -1, which this is one of the highest initial devotion planeswalkers where you -1 untap target permanent, which I'm sure you run Gaia's Cradle and other things to really push the mana up. Or for this deck.
So I'm so greedy and so on about consistency with this deck that not greedy. If I were greedy, I would be running Gaia's Cradle. I'm so focused on consistency that I'm not running Gaia's Cradle in this deck. There's times where I only have 2 or 3 creatures out, and sure, that helps to make all that mana, but it's green, and that oftentimes doesn't help me a ton.
I hear that.
So if it produces 0, then we're hosed. That's not what I want.
Understood. I definitely hear you there. I hear that. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hear that. Okay, well, keep talking, brother. Let's talk more about these card draw engines you got.
Obviously, we have to be on Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study because we're in blue. This is where I talk about like it's Atali plus blue. Those are the cards that I want to see in Atali. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I make that happen? I got to pick a different commander.
Gotcha. Understood.
So Seagate is a neat little include. Sometimes it's just a land if it's in hand. If I cascade into it, then I'm drawing a ton of cards. It's 7 mana.
Yes.
Turn Timber Symbiosis is the green version of that card. I'm pretty much going to put that in the deck. I'm not 100% on that right now, but it's not in yet.
If you all are not familiar with this, Turn Timber Symbiosis is the other Biosis. We're not going to talk about TTC's ability to spell. Let's see if I got it right. I did not get it right. MTG, it is the other Turn Timber and then Sim. We'll do that, and here we go. I actually think this will be a great include, just being like, well, actually, I'm not going to tell you about your card. Tell me, what do you see? Like, how do you feel about this Turn Timber Symbiosis as being another like card advantage, even though it's a little soft one?
I feel that it's going to be good, but I don't care about the +1/+1 counters.
Yeah,
and if I don't have it as a cascade target, I might just cascade into something else better anyway.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why I'm kind of on the fence about it.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm already running 29 lands with 31 if you include the MDFCs. So if I were to include this card, then I'd be 29 and 32. It's already really, really high for a cEDH deck. So
100%.
I think it's in a good spot right now. I'm kind of on the fence about this one.
I hear you there. Question when it comes to, have you maybe thought about, it only taps for green, but you know that does give us mana for dorks, so maybe I haven't looked fully at the land base, we haven't got there yet, but maybe like switch it out with a basic or maybe another land that maybe isn't cascadable into, or is the land base right now solid enough where it's like Turn Timber Symbiosis is not debatable, it has to be here, or it has to not be here per se?
Yeah, I think the mana base is pretty strong. I am running 3 basics, 1 of each type.
Cool.
I find myself needing to have guaranteed fetch targets in this deck.
Gotcha.
Especially just going through the deck very, very fast, and we're constantly shuffling, drawing cards. I've got to hit my land targets. I've got to have them untapped, especially in a big mana deck. So the fact that this card enters untapped on the backside is great, but the front side is kind of like, it seems like good value, but do I really want to hit it off of a cascade? Probably not.
I definitely hear you there. We just got a question from the chat. We have Peacecraft saying, my question is, if this commander this expensive, why not go 5 color with something like Jensen and getting the 1 CMC enchantment that just gets haste? Talk to me, brother.
So Maelstrom Wanderer is an outlet in the command zone.
There we go.
If you're able to cast it infinitely, you can do some great things like win the game.
No, but 100%.
But yeah, like a one mana CMC enchantment that gives haste, it's actually less impactful and harder to cast than a 8 mana creature, believe it or not. So having that 1 mana, everything gives haste, and relying on tutoring for that or getting to it. I don't have to tutor for anything that's in the command zone. So if I'm building around this, all it says, creatures you control have haste. So as soon as this hits the battlefield, I'm like online.
100%. Yeah. Not to mention that 1 mana, I think he's referring, Peacecraft is referring to Concordant Crossroads. All creatures on the battlefield give haste. It does benefit your opponents. And last week we had Emil the Blessed on, and we talked about Concordant Crossroads being like, if you play it and bend away, it's not a problem. But if you let that Concordant Crossroads just sit in the field, that's when you can start allowing your opponents to build game plans around, oh, my creatures have haste now. I can completely change my strategy to benefit me, even though initially my deck isn't made to benefit off of haste. The more time you give your opponents, it may not be optimal to run that one. But at the same time, I do think the first and top priority is that I'll agree with Logan saying here, the fact that it's an outlet in the command zone, being able to infinitely cast this and then choose to take infinite turns or do infinite Terror of the Peaks hits is something you really don't get too much of the options when it comes to Jensen. But no, yeah, I love that. Logan, card draw though. We're almost through it, but
we're halfway through.
We're halfway through it, but you've dropped a couple bangers here. Keep going, brother. Keep going.
One ring is, I mean, obviously, I think we have to be on the one ring for
all day,
most
every day.
cEDH decks. Yeah. Time Twister. Well, that's the only wheel I'm running. I think it is it's kind of your off button. Like if things have gone wrong, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna rip a Time Twister, see if I can get myself back into the game. Most of the time you can. And it also is the version of the wheel that doesn't fuel graveyard decks. It actually it sets them back. So I do like that little piece about that.
100%. Okay, keep going, brother.
Up the Beanstalk is just another version of Kiora, but it kind of cantrips on itself immediately, and I can cast this on 1 or 2 and feel pretty good about it. And no one's really going to interact with Up the Beanstalk. I mean, if someone counters it, they're wasting a counter spell. And then it cares about cast for mana value 5 or greater of any type of spell. So yeah, it counts your commander, it counts most of the cascade targets. I end up drawing quite a few cards off of Up the Beanstalk for only 2 mana. Feels really good, especially if you're going off.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now this one is where, do you ever find that the infinite cast of your commander causes you to draw your library out, or do you remove your Ups the Beanstalk with like a chain of vapor or something, or remove it completely so you don't draw yourself out?
If I have Up the Beanstalk and I'm able to go infinite, it's not really a problem because I have a Hull Breaker or some way to get rid of it.
Got it. Okay, we're good then.
Either that or I just have another way to go infinite that doesn't require me to cast my commander.
Yeah, that
infinitely.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah. I love this card. It's a legacy modern staple. I think it actually got banned in multiple formats. So if that tells you anything about it, man, keep going, brother.
Yep. So Uro, I think that was the deck I was originally going to come on here and talk about. Uro is the deck that I've worked on a ton as well, and I drew a lot of inspiration from that deck. And I saw mostly from that experience was creatures are really hard to interact with, and if I can have an outlet and card draw or some sort of value in the command zone, and I'm able to food chain or do something similar to food chain, where I can just cast it over and over again. That's obviously really good. In this deck, Uro is a one-time draw card, ramp yourself, and then it goes to graveyard, and it can just chill out in graveyard for a while. Mid-game, if I am able to rip Uro from the graveyard, he ETBs with escape.
Yes.
And then he'll also have haste. So that's draw 2 for 4 mana, possibly ramp myself 2. And he's a 6/6, so he's pretty strong in that regard. He's used differently than Uro in the command zone, but I think it was a late add for me to add him to this deck as just a small value piece.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not really using the graveyard for anything in this deck. You won't see any Underworld Breach, no Brain Freeze, nothing like that.
Gotcha.
So I'm so concentrated on having all of my value on the board or in hand, and these high value creatures where I've had people have to rip Toxic Deluge for like 7 or 8 on me before because they're like, I don't know what else to do about all these creatures. So if it gets to that point, then I'm already knowing that they're desperate, and I can probably still continue on after it happens.
I definitely hear you there, because I was actually wondering, first of all, if this I'm going to go ahead either way and tag Uro down in your Uro deck down in the description of this video. You all need to check that list out because it's hot. And I saw it and I was like, okay, I didn't think that would be a viable commander until I saw his list. And this list, he's saying, is even more powerful than the Uro list. And so I was interested to see it in the 99 of your Maelstrom Wanderer deck. But your communication about how it's hard to interact with creatures and knowing that it both ramps you what you need for an 8-mana commander, plus it replaces itself to the hand and can come back later in the game because we are turbo mid-range, but we have the capability to go mid-range as well. All those reasons, I absolutely love that, brother. Yeah.
And if you look at these like Simic decks or Atali,
Yeah.
Atali is like screaming, "I need blue." And if you look
Yeah,
at
definitely.
Kinnan wants nothing more in his life than a dockside.
Yes.
So I took those and I'm like, okay, well, if you also look at Rog Thras, which is a deck that's seeing a lot of play now, especially I think Rebel Sun came out with a video about it.
Yes.
Sam Black is playing it and he's writing articles about Rog Thras.
Yes.
This is like that deck with much higher ambitions. It largely wants to do the same thing and generate a ton of mana and get there with a ton of mana.
Yes.
But I'm making so many problems at the table, generally speaking, that it's very, very hard for everyone to deal with. There's not enough removal for it.
100%. I definitely hear you. I had watched, if you all have a chance, I believe it may, hopefully it's on YouTube, but I'd watched your gameplay in the last stream you did with one of your boys, and I'm not gonna lie, like it was just, some people have a bunch of counter magic. That's how they fight through. Some people use silence effects to stop the opponents. What this man was doing with this deck was like basically, all right, you stop that win con, I'm gonna go for another one. You stop that win con, I'm gonna go for another one. It was just win con after win con, back to back to back, and it was so much pressure at the table. It's like he was arch enemy from turn one from dropping that Taurenristic. Yes, that's a powerful start, but it was everything after that that kept him the problem the entire game, and it's just his opponents couldn't stop him. You know, no, even when they tried to win in order to combat, it was just constant pressure. So definitely hear you there, but amazing card draw pieces. I see the Consecrated Sphinx and Niv Mizzet Perun here as well. If y'all don't know how powerful these things are, just let them sit across from the table from the one time. You'll see how much of their problem. But
yeah, and Niv Mizzet, I'm not running any combos with Niv Mizzet. I could be running Curiosity, but it's honestly, even though it's only 1 mana, it's just not good enough.
That's fair.
Because then I have to kind of tutor for it or just hope that I have it in hand and Niv Mizzet on the field. Whereas Niv Mizzet is strong enough to stand on its own. Yeah. Because I'm rarely casting Niv Mizzet. It's being cascaded into.
Right.
And then it can sit there and just draw me cards anytime someone's, say there's a counterspell war between somebody else trying to go off. I'm drawing like 6 or 7 cards off of Niv Mizzet.
Got you. And at that point, we're using Niv Mizzet is purely a value engine. We're not trying to combo off with it. Even though we have the time twister to do the loop if we want to, we're trying to combo off. We're looking to outvalue our opponents using Niv Mizzet. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we talking about these cards we're drawing, so we got to interact with our opponents some way. So what is our removal and interaction package looking like?
We are on a very, very tight 6 counter spells. That is where we're at.
Talk to me.
Yep. So this deck is going to take a mindset shift for most cEDH players. You want to put your foot on the gas and not let go.
Yeah.
You will eventually draw a counterspell, and it will sit and rot in your hand, and maybe you will use it, maybe you won't.
Yeah.
If you cascade into a counterspell, I've designed the deck in such a way where you're gonna have really bad luck if you cascade into 2 counterspells, and even if you do, it shouldn't even matter that much.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to exile; they're just gonna go to the bottom of your library.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I was even going to say, dude, that it was like, I can even see this becoming a priority bullying situation where, well, I mean, they don't go to hand unless it goes to discover, but it's just like, I take that back. It's not a priority bullying problem that come up. It will become a sigh of relief. I just saw his Force of Will and Mindbreak Trap going to the bottom of his library. Now only need to worry about a Force Negations because he's completely tapped out. And that's if they know you're only running these counter magic, which over time people will get a feel of your list. So I can see how it's like you don't really want that much revealed information. You want to keep the pressure on the table and having more bomb targets to hit off your cascade. So I definitely hear you there, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, I think part of it is minimizing that interaction with counterspells and cascade, because if you hit a counterspell off of cascade, it doesn't do anything because there's nothing else on the stack. There's no targets, and everyone's gonna see it, and then it goes to the bottom of your library. It's not what you want to do.
I mean, you could do Born Upon the Wind, and then I'm joking right now. He can Born Upon the Wind, cast his commander, and then hope, and then in Mystical Tutor, the thing on top. I'm playing with your brother. No.
Yeah, I hear you.
No.
But But yeah, I mean, I think they're just good enough, really, when it comes down to it. And half the time, I'm using an offer you can't refuse to try to be mana positive on myself.
I definitely hear you
because, and like mana drain, same thing. Like I want to just hang on to mana drain. Hopefully, it gets me to something on my next turn where maybe I'll counter a 4 or 5 or something like that with mana drain. Have
definitely
5 mana and get maybe a commander cast off of it or something like that.
100%. That is my mana drain. I played mono red for such a long time. First time casting mana drain, I'm like, y'all, this is not a counter spell. This is the best ramp spell mono blue has to offer y'all. This is fucking amazing. So I definitely hear you there. Okay.
And with the card draw package, if your card draw is online in this deck, these 6 counter spells are gonna feel like you're playing a deck with 12.
Really?
Because you're drawing a ton of cards. Because the ratio, I was looking at the ratio of cards drawn to versus like what you expect to see in that.
Yes.
It's relatively the same. So it does kind of require you to be drawing a ton of cards, but it's really not that hard to do that in this deck.
Got you. Understood. Okay, that makes sense. Well, lean interaction package. So then talk to me, how are we protecting ourselves then?
Yeah, so one, we protect through volume of spells and high value spells. So if we're casting things like Bloom Tender and high value dorks and things like that, no one's really going to interact with that. I think the big boogeyman for this deck is Mindbreak Trap, because we're going to be casting a ton of spells per turn.
Yeah.
However, if we always play like our opponents have Mindbreak Trap, we can kind of either bait it out or play around it in such a way where we're only casting one spell at a time. We're not putting multiple spells on the stack. And by that point, if you're already 4 or 5 spells deep, do you really care about that 5th spell if they can Mindbreak Trap it? Like,
right.
So as far as permanent base protection, I'm running Chameel and Perplexing Chimera.
Got you.
Chameel says you cannot be, spells you control can't be countered, period.
Yes.
Flat, end of it. Doesn't matter what the effect is. Unfortunately, Mindbreak Trap gets around to that because Mindbreak Trap exiles spells.
Yes.
Forced Negation counters the spell. If the spell's countered, then exile it. So it's a little bit different. It does protect from Forced Negation.
Good.
Beginning of end step, discover 5. That always feels good too, because sometimes you can discover into a counter spell that goes to hand with discover.
Got you. I hear that.
Or if you discover into a Heuristic Study or something like that, obviously you're going to attempt to cast that, put it on directly on the field.
Got you.
Perplexing Chimera took this from Kinnan. As you might know, Kinnan runs this. We run a lot of clones too, so having maybe a couple clones of Perplexing Chimera, especially if you want to set up a win, and say you've got Kiki Jiki and Perplexing, to extra protect yourself, you can create a copy of Perplexing and then try to win however you're going to do that.
Got you. Okay, that makes 100% sense. First of all, seeing Chameel the Inner Sun, that's hot, bro. I played Liberator for a little bit of time and ran it. Felt a little clunky because even if you flashed it on instep, it just never really felt 100%. Even though you would think you can think it's the best thing. I just found winning on top of somebody was just superior than just running the Chameel. This deck though, with the Cascade, that's kind of hot. You say if you get your commander out on turn 2, you Cascade into Chameel, it's free. So for the rest of the game, you don't even need your counter spells, because it's like, what are you countering? And your 6 counter spells you're running, at that point, you're just saving that. You're just waiting for the Mindbreak Trap at that point. And so I really love that. And the Perplexing Chimera, if you haven't played against it, oh my gosh, I really hope the gameplay that I saw before is somewhere online, because in that game it was 2 Perplexing Chimeras, one under your control and one under an opponent's control, and it was absolutely disgusting, the interactions that you all had to navigate with the 2 Perplexing Chimeras, but you still being able to get the victory at the end of that. So absolutely love both of these protection pieces as your pseudo non-white silence effects. My question is, we're not seeing any of the other non-silence effects i.e. being Conqueror's Flail, Defense Grid, and there's a mono green one that some Kennen decks are running today where it costs 2 green and a colorless, and it says opponent players can only cast spells during your turn. I cannot remember the name for all that God gives me right now.
Yeah,
Dosan the Fallen Leaf. There we go. Dosan the Fallen Leaf. And so
Dosan's all right, and so is Defense Grid. They're good when you're going for it, but I found that I'm just able to put so much pressure and present multiple wins that when I'm going for it, I don't really need them.
Got you. Yeah, keep going. I'm listening.
That might not always be the case, but I'm so concerned about card quality and what the cards do at their worst.
Yes.
Defense Grid at their worst gives someone else a free win, right?
Same with Dosan. That's true.
Right. So I don't want those to be anywhere near my deck. Despite how powerful the effects are, the effects are powerful. Don't get me wrong. And there's a time and a place to run that. Usually in like an Adnan style deck where you're trying to just go off on your turn.
Right.
But we kind of have this sort of inbuilt inherent protection because we're a creature combo focused deck and a creature value deck.
Yes.
It's really, really hard to interact, especially at instant speed, because the big ones you see are Toxic Deluge, which is a sorcery.
Yes.
And occasionally you'll get hit by a stray lightning bolt or something like that. But I don't know. I don't find myself too concerned about those things.
Understood. I feel you there. Yeah, I really like that. I usually like with my deck building and when I'm brewing, I kind of like the high has to be high enough where it's like for example, the Thassa's Oracle argument, where some pilots opt out of running Thassa's Oracle in their Dimir Plus decks because it's like, this is a dead card unless you're winning. You know what I'm saying? And my argument is saying, okay, it's so powerful. It being dead or just at best being a scry if you need to dig a little deeper for a piece of interaction makes it tolerable, you know what I'm saying? But on your side, I definitely hear what you're saying. Like in the event from your play style and what I've seen from this deck is being a train in a truck. It's plowing through win opportunities. So it has so much pressure on the table where it's just you keep presenting win after win after win. And when you're passing turn, knowing you're going to try again next turn, you don't really want a Dosan the Fallen Leaf or a defense grid on board, because you're basically giving the other players an opportunity for a protected win. And I'm not the hugest fan of Conqueror's Flail unless I'm like, for example, a little less on creature combos and more on non-creature like Ad Nauseam or Underworld Breach, where like in the rock side lists or other things along that line where I really just need to shut things down in a non-white deck where I just like I don't have options of grand about.
Yeah, I think Conqueror's Flail is probably the argument. You could probably make an argument for putting that in here, but then I've got to spend additional mana to equip it, and
that's the biggest,
it's like, I don't know, it's all right. If I play a Conqueror's Flail, I mean, someone's gonna interact with it. Someone's gonna. So it's like, then do I need to hold up counter spells to fight over it, or do I really need it in the first place?
Yeah,
you know.
I think it may be a bit. This is my hypothesis that I think it's more on play style. For example, my play style, I am very much. I'll play like I'm pushing more toward taking risky plays, but I play more safe. So if I'm playing, for example, my Marnie's Calgary deck, I'm not presenting an unprotected win unless I'm winning on turn 1 or turn 2, Thassa's or Hullbreaker or like ISO Rev or some junk like that. But once you hit turn 3 from my Marnie's deck, I'm looking for Silence, Grand Abolisher, or Ranger Captain or Teferi to lock my opponents out while I try to present my combo. You know what I'm saying? And I can see a universe where somebody like me be like, okay, I can squeeze in a Conqueror's Flail. But on the flip side, for the people who just say like, no, like I see the importance of being safe, but there is a power behind being resilient where I can put safety and cautiousness to the side because it's just resilience. Because in addition to being this deck that is like, oh, I'm winning, I'm trying to win this turn, I still have ways to either kill the player who has the highest advantage who's going to try to win after me, or just hold up the interaction I need to stop the person who tries to win after me. So I think it may be that's my hypothesis. I think it may be play style. You know what I'm saying? And your list definitely has the resilience.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's play style, and also it's kind of the ethos when building this deck. I think there's plenty of valid ways you can build this deck, but this list that I'm running right now, Conqueror's Flail would just feel out of place. It doesn't
I agree.
match with anything else. And speaking of like damage, so Atraxa is like a huge creature, right? It's like a 7/7 with vigilance, flying, lifelink, death touch, right?
Yeah. It's throwing some more
So-
keywords. Every keyword on it.
Yeah, that's right. But what's interesting is Atraxa doesn't have haste, so it
Right.
like often dies.
Yes.
Or just doesn't get the chance to attack, or you've got to something happens, or the game ends, or whatever. If I'm able to cast Maelstrom Wanderer on 2 or 3 and swing in for 7, and they don't block, okay, well that's 1 turn off the clock, and then I can actually start putting pressure on and start forcing blocks with this. And most of the time, I actually want Maelstrom Wanderer to die because I don't either have a way to bounce it on the field, or I have enough mana to recast it, but it's just sitting on. And once it's on the field, it's kind of rotting.
Right.
With exception of like unless you're able to cast additional dorks and make additional mana or something like that.
Right.
So most of the time, I kind of want it to die early. Because if I'm able to recast it, then I can get additional value off a Cascade. Maybe I'll hit a combo piece, something like that.
Got you. That makes 100%.
But yeah, it's when you have 7 power, it doesn't matter if it's on the ground or in the air. That's a inherent 3-turn clock, and especially with haste, it actually shortens it a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. Yeah. And so for me, that sounds good. It's a lean protection package, but I think the objective of what I'm receiving is we're going for resilience over the perfect. This is I'm gonna build the most unstoppable turn. They're like, stop me this turn. I don't care. I'm gonna try again next turn. Stop me that. I'm gonna try again next turn. And I would say that's not viable until I saw it. I've seen it. It works. So I have no quorums about that. We got some chats right now. First from Docker Quacks. Played Logan's Uro deck last night with him and some friends, and you absolutely need to try it. First time playing it, and I fell upward into a win while having no idea how to even play it. So that's really, really dope. We also have Pure Fury saying, "Sup, man? I need you to be responsible for my wallet because I just spent $500 on singles and I haven't told my wife yet." No. All right, I have another solution for you. Ball on a budget. We're playing cEDH. We're not playing against your wallet. We're playing against your mind. So if you're looking to spend that same $500 but get 10 times the amount of cards, check out the link in the bio for some ThunderConductor Proxy so we can save you some money in your pocket. We got JD and White saying what's up, and we have Emmett, the E-Meister saying yeah, but for Atraxa you only need to ETB. Atraxa beats is plan B. We agree. I think. Well, I'll let Logan speak on this, but what I've received from it is that he's saying his commander as well is like the beats is like the plan B, but it's a closer plan B because for Atraxa, once it hits the board, all you gotta do is throw out a flyer to be able to block with it. Where on this commander, if you ramp up fast enough and people aren't prepared to block it, it's a lot harder to prepare for something that has haste. That's why it's always been this evergreen keyword. So, but I want Logan to talk on that just a little bit more. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, that's actually my wife. She and I worked on an Atraxa deck, and she runs an Atraxa list. It's really, really awesome.
What? What's up, Mrs. Logan? Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, with Maelstrom Wanderer, you can see it like most people would see it as a plan B. I see it as a this is happening simultaneously as my other win cons, right? Because when am I not going to swing with Maelstrom Wanderer? It's a 7/5 with haste, and little downside if it dies.
Yep.
So it's kind of incorporated into the deck, especially with what I was talking earlier about, like for example, if I have a Trumpeting Carnosaur, that's a 7/6 for 6 mana. I mean, it's huge.
No, I definitely hear you there. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, haste is so much better than people put their mind to, and it's one of the things you have to experience it to fully get it. But at the same time, it's kind of like I played mono red a lot, or I played a lot of red, so I definitely can see that. But I think that in the worst universe, you hit somebody for a surprise, and now for the rest of the game, you force them to block in ways that they don't want to block because they're on 7 commander damage. You know what I'm saying? 2 more hits and they're done. So they take 14 damage. Now for the rest of the game, if the commander touches them at all, they're fucked. So I think haste is a lot more powerful than we give credit to. And like you said, if it dies, all they're doing, similar to Atraxa, it's actually common trait. Don't kill the Atraxa. You're better off just taking the 7 to the face, because you kill the Atraxa, you just allow the person to recast it again and get the re-ETB again. And I think it's the same with Maelstrom Water. You just cast it again, get the double cascade.
Yeah. I did want to talk about the ramp package a little bit, if you have some time to do that.
Yeah. Real quick. Let's get to the ramp package.
Yeah,
we got last thing from from the E-Meister. I don't want to mispronounce this. Hey, ThunderConductor. Yes, I'm Logan's better half. Thanks for hosting him. Enjoying the stream from the living room. Love to hear it. Welcome to the stream chat. And Chad Brochill says, "Dear Lord, what a beast." 100% it is. Before, very quickly, just quick question: do we have any stacks on this list that you'd like to touch on?
The only piece I'm running is Manglehorn at the moment.
Got you, 100%. Okay, cool.
I find that Manglehorn can kind of slow down Kinnan enough and slow down most decks where their artifacts enter tapped. I can't have any sort of symmetrical stacks in this deck. I can't have anything that slows me down.
100%. And right before we get into our ramp package, could you just make sure, I'm hearing a slight bit of a click going on. If you have a necklace or anything that may be touching your mic, just check out for that real quick. But
I don't think I've got anything at the moment.
Okay, 100%. Okay, 100%. All right. Well, with that being said, we got a lot of ramp, so let's talk ramp. Talk to me, brother.
Yeah, so I think I'm running mostly just standard rocks. The strange additions would be Chromatic Ori, which can be blinked with Displacer Kitten for either additional mana or additional card draw. Exploration is a card I'm a huge fan of. Exploration is a 1 mana, allow you to play an additional land every turn, and with the rate that we're drawing cards, it's always turned out pretty solid.
Yeah.
And people are starting to mental misstep it in my pods, which is pretty fun.
I'm not laughing at you. That's just impeccable. Oh man, I fucking love that. I love it.
If it needs a misstep, I'm fine with it. It's not a huge deal to me.
I love that. I love when people have to respect the off beaten path deck. I fucking love it. Keep going, brother.
Gwenna is great. So there's kind of an interesting play pattern with Gwenna. If you are able to cascade into Gwenna, if you have Gwenna on the field and you cast Maelstrom Wander, Gwenna untaps, it's a counter.
Yes.
I would at that point highly recommend you immediately tap Gwenna, float 2 mana.
Yes.
Because if you cascade into another creature spell that has power 5 or greater, Gwenna untaps.
Ah, got you. So get the untap, hold priority, float the mana, untap it, and then continue on.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Gwen is pretty neat because her mana can be used as creature mana, but also pumped into Kinnan activations.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that. Yes.
So it does get used that way sometimes.
Nice.
Obviously, we're on Jeweled Lotus because it just helps us get there that much faster. Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Mox Amber, Mox Diamond, and Grim Monolith. Grim Monolith, Mana Vault feel really good in this deck because we're also running Seedborn Muse, which will untap them at everyone else's untap.
Yes.
So I feel a little bit less punished by running those. Obviously, we just need to get there with 8 mana.
Yes, 100%.
Nyx Bloom Ancient is also kind of a weird one.
Yeah.
It's 7 mana. If you were to tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times that much instead.
Yes.
I do find myself tapping Zavala for 21 quite a bit.
Fucking love it, bro. I fucking love it. Keep going, brother. Side note, if I could please throw this in. Notably, if I remember correctly, this goes infinite with Grim Monolith, though we don't have a way to use the infinite colorless meta, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, there's no infinite colorless outlet in this deck. I just think they're not good enough. Where obviously they are in other decks, especially 2-color decks. Yeah. But we're so pip heavy, and Nexus of Fade's 2 blue, Nyx Bloom is 3 green, Kiki Jiki is 3 red. Like, it's just, there's no reason for the infinite colorless.
I hear that. One quick question just popped in my mind. Is there a universe where you could possibly see the switch out of Uro for Thrasios in the 99, just to have that hey, I have an infinite mana, infinite colors mana, and if I'm drawing out my deck either way, or if I have Thrasios available to me, or if my opponent has Thrasios, I can clone it. Is there ever a universe where you can see that trade out if you want to grind it out, since you're running Seaborn Muse, and just having that grinding engine where it's never really a bad card, it's just a mana sink during the turn rotation?
Well, I mean, so we talked about the copies earlier.
Yeah.
I'm running 4 copies,
Yep.
5 if you count Kiki Jiki, which can only copy my stuff.
Yes.
Thrasios is mostly run as a commander. Sometimes it's run as a 99 with like Kinnan. I don't think Thrasios provides enough value on its own here to run it, but I will often clone it.
Got you, 100%. Yeah. So
and also like Uro, if someone clones Uro, I don't care. It's gonna die immediately, and then they don't have anything. So like Uro is a pretty low value creature for everyone else, but it's high value for me.
Got you. So Uro giving the initial value from the ETB plus being something that, all right, in the event if you clone it, all right, cool. Like you didn't escape it, it's going to the graveyard, and you can escape it out the graveyard. Is the thought process you don't want to give your opponents an infinite mana outlet?
For the most part, I mean, I think Thrasios is obviously an excellent card.
Yes.
It could easily see play in this deck, and I think would be fine.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not like there's no ETB. I can't blink it.
Yeah.
It doesn't provide value to everything else in the deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I did consider it for a while when I was especially heavy on Kinnan and like I had Basalt on the deck.
Yeah.
I just found that like that line, it while it does feel like you're playing Kinnan with red, I don't have a way to tutor for it, so I need to make the most out of whatever I hit, regardless of what it is. And 100%. Thrasios wasn't really there 100% of the time.
I hear that. I definitely hear you there. I hear you there. Yeah, I think I still think personally that the floor is just high enough, but the point that I love about what you said, and I have to agree with you, is the fact that it does not have an ETB that you can leverage and doesn't even lean on the big beat strategy that we have as a backup plan. I definitely hear you there. If we were trying to be pure mid-range, it'd be fine, but we have like an inherent beat strategy that is viable for for the list that you created. So no problem there. Definitely hear what you're saying there, brother. Yeah, keep going, man.
So I think that closes out the ramp package. I've got a couple of removal spells that in this deck are run a bit like protection.
Okay. I feel you there. Yeah, talk to me about these removal spells real quick, brother.
So late change for me was putting a braid in. It just deals 3 damage to any target Drannith from Magistrate, pretty much.
Yep.
And if Drannith is already gone, I can just run an artifact. It's pretty low consequence, but usually pretty strong.
Gotcha.
Obviously, Psych Rift lets me bounce something that's a problem, or I can. I almost always have 7 mana at any given point after turn 3 in this deck. So forcing an overloaded Psych Rift is kind of like an off button as well.
Got you.
Zoyo's Justice is an interesting one.
I love this card.
I can use it on myself for extremely high value with as a way to get Maelstrom Wanderer off the field and back into command for only 2 mana.
Yep.
And then discover 8, which is huge. Or I can remove a Drannith, or I can remove a opposition agent, something like that.
Got you. Okay. No, I absolutely love Zora's Justice. It just came out recently in Caverns of Ixalan, and I think it is a great include for the mono red decks. And I feel like in the universe where you have to choose between Zoras and a Braid, I personally would choose Zoras because it's very seldomly that you want to hit something that's 0 mana. But it being able to hit a creature of any size, and it gives them the discover, but unless you're playing against Maelstrom Wanderer, it's usually most 99s is like, all right, you got a card, but now I can actually do whatever I want, and whatever piece was problematic to me is no longer problematic to me. So definitely hear you there, brother. Well, we've talked about the ramp, but we have to go back to the core of the mana, which is our land base. So can you talk to us about any notable land base inclusions that you have?
Yeah, so we're running Boseiju and Otawara as our channel lands.
100%.
Obviously those are a bit toolboxy, where if we need to remove something, we can. Ancient Tomb, because it gets us 2 colorless. Running a bunch of shocks, 1 for each color pair. I am running the filter lands because I think that's a little bit of a notable inclusion, like Cascade Bluffs and Firelit Thicket.
Yep.
The reason for those is often I need double pips, so they're super helpful in that. But also, if I'm able to have an Ix Bloom, those actually tap for 6 instead of tapping for 3. So I can take 1 mana and produce 6 with these, because Ix Bloom says produce triple mana.
Got you. Okay. That's hot. Okay, keep going, brother. Keep going.
You'll obviously see just the dual lands, regular dual lands, fetch lands.
Yep.
I am running a couple of the pain lands. I think that was what I was on before I switched out to the filters.
Yes.
And then Urza's Saga, just to hopefully we get there with ramp and we can get a Soul Ring or Mana Crypt. Yeah. Pretty basic land base. Yavimaya helps us smooth a bit.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy or outrageous with the mana base. I think the most notable thing is that I'm running 29 lands.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's not a problem at all. When you are in that position where you have to drop an 8 mana commander, I am not mad at 29 lands at all. Well, this looks good. I'm even seeing, I'm not sure if you said it, but the command beacon, love seeing that in the deck where you're not completely commander centric, but since your commander has the possibility of giving you such high value, I am not mad at seeing this land either. So before we go into the test hands, do you have any other notable categories you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, so there's just so much crossover between the ramp pieces and things that give you haste or draw you cards or untap. It's kind of like a free-form deck. You kind of have to take stock of what you have in your hand and what's on the field and see if you can make it work, or see a line that maybe will just push you over the edge and get you there. The flexibility in this deck and the consistency are really the core parts of it.
Okay.
So whether it's not like tutoring for the one magic, silver bullet, and that's what wins you the game. That never happens in this. You just kind of get there or you don't.
Understood.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, since you only have use of your own deck versus Atali having the use of all decks, do you still feel like you ever have to lean on luck, or do you feel like the 99 has been honed enough where it's more of a level of inevitability versus luck?
It's always inevitability. I have ironed out so many cards that were close but just not good enough, and I'm having a lot of trouble like pulling things out for other good cards. Because all of these cards have performed in such a way that I'm just like, I don't know. It's really hard to want to replace a Chrome Mox or a Chromatic Ori now that I have it. Because if I hit a Chromatic Ori and I'm able to untap, like, man, it's just right there. I think that there's cards like Atali. I'm running actually both Atalis in this list.
Yes.
Because the original Atali is an attack trigger, but funny enough, the commander gives haste, so I'm able to get some value off of that.
Dude, yes, and that's fucking hilarious for me, because I used to love this commander. I wanted, and I actually used to run it when we used to play back in the day, 60 card kitchen table match where just anything goes, but no one knows how to play combos and shit. We just trying to beat people's face, and that was the one weakness to the card. It didn't have haste, and seeing how your commander solves that problem right there is beautiful, brother. No cap, man.
Yep.
I feel
so. I think it's just a little bit of luck, obviously. I mean, that's every cEDH game, whether it's this deck or another.
Yeah.
But if you're able to hit any of the big things, especially early, it just feels so bad for opponents, because you look at the cards and you're like, okay, well, he just cast 2 giant things for free. It's like turn 3. He's also got his commander out. So I'm representing 8 plus 6 plus, I don't know, 5 mana of stuff that was nearly free on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, cool, I have some like dorks. I've got Thrasios and Rograk, and it's like we're not even playing the same game. I'm trying to step outside of the like, you know, I'm playing my neat little combos and I'm playing giant combos.
Yeah. I love how your verbiage there. It's like we're not playing the same game. Like back in the day when I used to do martial arts, they would talk about make sure you're fighting your fight. Don't fight your opponent's fight your fight. So if they doing a more low stance and trying to do the ground fight, don't try to meet them at, because that's how they fight. Well, how do you fight, whether it's on the feet, and how do you make sure your style, how do you keep them on your feet? And I love how you say, look, I'm not trying to fight your fight. I'm not trying to play your game. I'm trying to do my thing, and my thing is going to dominate whatever you plan on doing. I absolutely love that, brother.
Yeah, I think early on, because of the cards I was playing, I'm maybe running about 15 different cards now.
Yeah.
I did feel like when I was winning, I was making a mockery of the cEDH format. I'm playing all these cards that are like, they're uncastable in a traditional cEDH deck, but in this deck, I'm just like, oh, you know, I'll just spin the wheel and see if I hit something good. Now it's a bit more, it looks crazy still from a cEDH perspective, but it's definitely more focused on consistency and just putting the pressure on.
Yes.
So,
well, brother, look, I know we're gonna have some Maelstrom Wanderer stands after this video drops on YouTube, and in order for them to fully experience the game how you experience it, we got to do some playtest hands. So
do you mind if I take like 60 seconds, take a quick little break?
Go ahead, brother. Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
No problem. In the meantime, while we are here, let's check out this chat. We have Hog in for 1PT says, yo, what's up? How you doing, brother? We also have he's working on a Kimba deck. That is interesting, and I believe Logan actually has a Kimba deck as well. If you all are interested in checking out Logan's Moxfield, you check him out, JDM_Watt with 3 A's, and check him out there. I believe he has a Kimball deck. And we also have let's see, yes, yeah, so some amazing things here. Just keep on, check out his Moxfield. It's really an amazing thing. He's doing a lot of crazy things, and he's an amazing brewer. I know one list I always wanted to brew back in the day when I was playing casual was this Kai card, spicy as fuck, really fun. And I'm not gonna cap this, just that was I remember one of my first cEDH games I played on Untapped. .io, if y'all ever looking for like a computer version, and it was just a bunch of like super expensive cEDH lists and just crazy stuff. And then here comes this brother with the Kai card. It was like a $50 Kai card list, and he whooped our tail, and he was like one play away from winning. He was so close, but it was crazy, man. So even like seeing that he built a casual blue farm list, and of course you can't go home without, can't leave the house without Heliod. Love this. And here's his Earl's Bounce House. Absolutely love this list. Think this is a really crazy thing, and honestly a Simic list that can rival even Kennen, even though it doesn't have the value like Kennen does. It always has a more consistent value, which is, you know, we're just trying to cast it and we can let it go to the graveyard to escape it out, or we can just cast it to draw a card and ramp. And since you're in blue, you have more card draw. If you're in green, you have more card draw plus ramp. Really dope deck, and just looking to make infinite mana. So even got some, you know, some other fun stuff. So
I'm back with you.
Yep. All right, what's up, Logan? You ready to do these playtest hands, man?
Yeah, I did want to say real quick about the deck.
Yes.
I was largely inspired by creature combo decks like Blood Pod and Rog Thras. So seeing a lot of the just or you know, even Sisay, where you're able to rip creatures out or legendaries out, and how do people interact once the Sisay abilities on the stack?
They can.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, there's got to be something where it's not those, but it's just different. And using that with the Uro deck that you were just talking about, seeing a lot of like the food chain, and like, yeah, food chain's an excellent card, and obviously it's going to go in the deck because it combos well.
Yeah.
But not putting so much focus on like tutoring food chain or ensuring that it goes off, and just saying, well, okay, if it doesn't go off, then I'm going to present win 2.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't go off, I'm going to present win 3, and I'm going to do all that on the same turn. I want everyone to, like, I want my opponents to feel like they're underwater fighting this deck.
Yeah, I definitely hear you there, brother. Yeah, I love that you took something that was known in the meta and really added your own twist to it and found a new way to make it viable. And that kind of creativity is why I love cEDH more than any other competitive format on the planet. I've done modern and I wanted to do legacy and other powerful formats, but it was definitely always a thing. I'm just like, outside of like the push out because of pricing, even when I had like communities that would allow me to proxy, it was a thing where I'm just like, dude, like, it's like the format is almost feels solved. Like the creativity was limited because of the ban list, and where you see this comes in, the ban list is so much smaller, but it's still a hard, like niche like format where the card selection is solved, quote unquote, but you still have the ability to be creative. And if you use the creativity of your mind, you're able to break the format in ways that are really disgusting. And I'm very happy that you took the time to find a list that was able to break the format in a very disgusting way. And man, I'm looking forward to see how your mind thinks while we walk through these hands, man.
This hand is garbage.
Oh yeah, no, this is not the first hand. We have not. This is no. Yeah, we are not touching this hand. I'm not even gonna say this is the first 7. We're about to deal you another hand. Let's take turn order real quick. You're going first.
All right.
You are first. Let's say it's just a good old tournament pod. Second is Tibna Crom, good old blue farm. Next we have a Sisay 5 colors, and we have a Kinnan going forth. Ready?
All right. Yep.
Let's see our first 7. All right, we have a Rejuvenating Springs, a Jewel Lotus, a Mox Amber, a Capture of Jin Zhao, a Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker, Eldritch Evolution, and Kinnan Bonder Prodigy.
This is really rough. It's really close to it.
Yeah.
But I can't even speculate on the card that I'm going to draw, and I'm not willing to take the chance, so I would pitch
fair.
It. We can play, obviously, land for turn, Mox Amber. Mox Amber isn't turned on unless we either play Kiki Jiki or Kinnan, and unfortunately neither is our commander, so Jeweled Lotus doesn't do anything here.
Yeah.
Eldritch Evolution, I wouldn't want to stack either one of those to Eldritch Evolution.
Gotcha.
And Capture, obviously it's just not castable, so
Right.
while it looks close and in casual, I might keep something similar just because it's, you know,
Lands
it's
and
okay, we're
spells.
chilling or out. Yeah, no, it ain't it. We'll have to take the second 7.
All right, let's do it. Second 7 is Misty Rainforest, Breeding Pool, Training Center, Exotic Orchard, Grim Monolith, Intruder Alarm, and Entali Primal Storm.
This is hard. I think I would probably keep this.
Talk to me.
It feels bad and it looks bad because we've got 4 lands and a Grim Monolith. Because we're pretty much on turn 1 we're going to land pass, and that doesn't present anything to anyone else. So there's no Mystic Remora, there's no Ristic Study, nothing like that to put pressure on. But on 2 we have Grim Monolith, but that's also just guaranteed a dead turn, unless we draw something good. On 3 we have a Tali, which is nice, but it's not going to have haste.
Got you.
So this would be okay if I'm up against like some mid-range kind of longer decks, but against Sisay I really want to put the pressure on early and kind of force a block out of Sisay.
Yes.
I think I would probably mulligan this hand.
All right, let's see a 6. We have Command Tower, Wooded Foothills, Valakut Awakening, Seagate Restoration, Mindbreak Trap, Kiki Jiki, and the scary Exploration.
Yep, this is a snap keep.
There we go. I love to hear it. Okay, talk to me. What are we putting down to the bottom, and what is our first 2 to 3 turns looking like?
Down to the bottom, Mindbreak Trap for sure.
Easy all day, every day. All right. What's our first land drop in? Well, I can guess, but go and talk to me.
I think I would Wooded Foothills crack for probably a Taiga Exploration, then play Seagate as a land.
Okay.
And pass.
Okay.
And then what would I draw on that turn, actually?
First draw for turn with Mindbreak on the bottom would be an Exotic Orchard.
Okay, yeah. So that's good. Because then now we're representing 4 mana on 2.
Okay.
So okay, yeah. We'll do that opening.
Okay.
Drew for Exotic, and then on 2, what would I draw?
All right. Turn 2, would be a Carpet of Flowers. We got mana.
Yep. So I'd definitely throw down that Carpet of Flowers, and if I don't think I would play a naked Kiki Jiki, but I'd probably wheel with Valakut.
100%.
And just try to, like, Kiki Jiki is great, but it doesn't really inherently do anything. So
Gotcha.
Just seeing a fresh set of new cards would be excellent. So
Got you.
I think with Carpet of Flowers, we could probably assume that we've got 1 or 2 additional mana with that.
Yeah.
3 blue. I think that
3 blue opponents, very much possible.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely a keeping hand.
Yeah, I think this is a great hand. I was originally going to ask, like, why not play the Valakut down, but you already had saw in your mind this is not a land right now. It's a card draw spell, which we talked about. This card, this deck draws crazy. So being able to know guaranteed that you'll see at least 2 new cards after putting the Mindbreak Trap in the bottom. You have the 4 lands to drop, and you have a Carpet of Flowers. That means you'll be able to just pitch those 2, and let's just say hypothetically you drew 2 more. Those 2 more would get you into a Mana Crypt, and a Zayora's Justice. So now you have a removal spell to hold up on your turn 3, as well as having 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is a Maelstrom Wanderer on turn 3. On turn 4. No.
Well, yeah. I'd still draw for turn on 3, right?
Yes, you would draw for turn, which, this would be, and a Mana Confluence. So that's definitely, with the Carpet of Flowers, Exploration Lands, that's a turn 3 Maelstrom Wanderer. Being able to hold up Zayora's Justice over the turn cycle for turn 2, and you just, this hand exploded. I love it.
So if you look at this hand, and from a opponent's perspective, what are the actionable things that you're doing?
As in interacting with you?
Or, like, what do you even want to interact with? Like, as an opponent, I don't want to interact with Exploration unless I'm Mindbreak trapping it. Or not misstepping it.
Yeah,
same with Carpet of Flowers.
Yeah, only one I can really Exploration. I'm definitely, if you drop that turn 1, I am not mental misstepping that. If I'm the control player at the deck table, Carpet of Flowers, after kind of like getting the feel of like you dropping, having that 4 mana down, maybe, but no, like if you play it smart, you probably will lead off with the Carpet of Flowers with before you play your land drops, and it becomes less of a target at that. So that's just easy, just taking your time. I'm gonna be honest, like, there's nothing that I would want to like interact with. I mean, and by the time you cast your commander on turn 3, you got the cascade triggers. You know what I'm saying? So even if I counter the original spell with a mana drain to get the mana, or try to do anything else, like, there's nothing I would really want to counter. You already got the value.
What would we cascade into? Just out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity, we would cascade into a Squeeze the Immortal. That would be casted, and then we would cascade into a Force of Will, little poopy put down to the bottom, and but the Squeeze the Immortal is hot. That's the best one.
That's fine. I might, Zoyo is it or something like that, just to see if I can get like a dork or anything or even do that on Maelstrom. I think, despite the cascades that would have been down, I would definitely would have casted Maelstrom on 3.
Yeah.
So
cool. Very, very good 6. I love the, like you said, the deck works, and you got mana. So let's go check out our second playtest hand. This time you will be going first again. Just roll it again. It is your lucky day. Your first, this pile will be a little bit faster. We got you going first, Dahada going third. We'll put Roxai second. So it's you, Roxai, then Dahada. And then going fourth, we'll go Niv Mizzet Perun. Okay? And so, all right, let's see this first 7. We have a Command Tower, a Flooded Grove, the One Ring, Phantasmal Image, Force of Negation, Etali Primal Storm, and Worldly Tutor.
This is tempting to keep only because of the Force of Negation. But I would say that I probably don't do anything turns 1 through 3 or 4. Because it's a fast pod, like, I want to have interaction, but honestly, I think my best bet in this pod is to have an explosive start and let everyone else interact with each other. Yeah,
I definitely hear you there. Very cool question. We probably just grazed over it. We are running Dockside Extortionist. Okay, because what I see with this hand is you can go turn 1. You're going first, so you go command tower pass, instep, flood, worldly tutor, depending on what things are looking like. Worldly tutor for dockside, turn 2 dockside into a turn 2 one ring if you wanted to. And the force negation is great to stop any early wins. If you don't have to go phantasmal on your dockside, but if you needed more mana, hypothetically you can go into that phantasmal image on the turn 2 or wait till turn 3 holding the force negation again. Like it's I think this is pretty hot, but I wanted to get a little more from you, your opinion on this.
I definitely like that. I that's one of the things I was thinking about, but turn 2 dockside and
the one ring is hot, bro. I'm not gonna cap. That's just hot, bro. Like no cap. But I ain't gonna push you.
You know what? I'll take another layer on that. I care less now about the force of negation. I now care about dockside phantasmal image, copy dockside.
Okay. All right.
So because we have phantasmal image, I would say yes. If we didn't have phantasmal image, I would say no.
Yeah. I hear that. And the beautiful thing about this, and you're going first, you get to dictate what you get with the worldly tutor, even if you want to go dockside into phantasmal image. You know, you're playing against Dahada and Rockside. They are turbo decks, you know what I'm saying? So they're going to drop stuff that's going to feed the dockside. That's a good enough gamble. And Niv Mizzet, they got to control. So you choosing to use the phantasmal image early to go creature, that puts you in a great position either to protect your worldly tutor with force negation, and if the worldly tutor resolves, you go dockside straight into phantasmal image and go either into your commander or the one ring. Like, I think the world's your oyster with this one, man.
Yeah, I actually do like it. I think you've convinced me. And
no. Take it as a grain of salt. I just saw the one ring and I had to make it work in my head. I love drawing cards.
Is the least interesting part of the hand to me. One Ring and Asali are like, to me, are nearly dead cards. Like, yeah, obviously One Ring and casting it early is excellent, but I think that if I'm able to copy dockside, that's just like, that is what I want to do with this deck. that gets me there, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
I maybe I'm a bit hyper fixated or just keyed into what the deck wants, but
100%.
What would the draw for turn be?
So let's say we kept this first 7 and we're drawing for turn. It is a Perplexing Chimera.
Yeah, not super great, but I can pitch that to force negation, so I guess it makes the hand even better.
It makes the hand better, bro. Like, what I love about, all right, I'm gassing. I know I'm gassing, but hear this out. What I'm seeing right now is I guarantee don't have to pitch my phantasmal image. I have I'm not casting Perplexing Chimera because we have Niv Mizzet. You play control, dude. I'm trying to win the game. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 other turbo decks. Fuck that shit. Exactly. You're the control deck. You know, I'm the mid-range turbo deck. I can choose what kind of fight I want to fight. Go command tower, steal, worldly tutor, go get dockside. It's going to get fed, bro. Every pot at this deck has.
There's no question.
There's no question. Go turn 2. Just go get worldly tutor. Go get dockside. Cast dockside. If the dockside is not good enough, phantasmal image.
What would the draw on 2 be?
The draw on 2 would be changed because you would have a tutor.
True, but you would still have the same, like.
Oh yeah, just random. It would still be random. So let's say hypothetically shuffle, and actually I'll do this. Let's do this. Draw that, and then I'll shuffle this first, and then draw 1. It will be a jeweled lotus, dude. Well, actually no. Turn 2 draw will be the dockside you tutored for.
Oh right.
Yeah, turn 2. Yeah, it will be the dockside. Yeah, but that's still hot, bro. That's still hot. That's still hot.
Yeah.
Your turn 3. Yeah, your next draw for turn will be turn 3. So if you.
In theory, I could One Ring, draw Jeweled Lotus, play it, then cast Maelstrom Wander.
That's hot. Turn 2, depending on the dockside is, you can literally go turn 2 One Ring plus Maelstrom Wander. You're putting heat on the rock side for their Adnaz or the Dahada for their Adnaz, and you got card draw set up. That's hot, bro. It's got hot, bro. Yeah, I like that, man. That you convinced me. That's pretty hot, bro. Well, I love what we saw. We'll end that playtest there, but I just wanted to say thank you so much, Logan, for giving us such an amazing deck tech of this Maelstrom Wanderer list. I definitely think the audience deserves to see this in action, not just these really goated playtest hands. And it mulligans well, it does everything we want to. But before we close off this section of the stream, I just want to ask, is there anything, last comments you want to make to tell people why they need to give Maelstrom Wanderer a chance in cEDH?
I think really it comes down to keep your mind open. The format's not solved yet. Obviously, some decks are way overperforming, but if you look at competitive games, for example, maybe this is a bad example. I know it's kind of a bit older, but like if you look at League of Legends, the pro meta is so solved, and pros will just copy each other because that's what other pros do, and they don't think about like what goes into the build or the particular strategy. And then you've got some rogue, top tier challenger player going like, this strategy is actually cracked, this is actually broken, this is, there's so many different lines here that are different than your average thing. So if you can extrapolate that to cEDH, there's so many new cards coming out all the time. There's old strategies that maybe are a little bit better now because they have new tools or new toys. Keep your mind open about trying new things, and if it doesn't work out, like, it's not a huge deal. You didn't probably invest a ton into it. You can build a deck on Moxfield and or Proxy with ThunderConductor proxies, and not spend a whole lot of money doing it, and then you've got kind of like this playground where you can just try new things. This for me has been working great, especially against meta decks, because meta decks can't really interact with a lot of the things that are going on in this deck, and it's neat that they're able to combo off and do their thing and have their draw engines and things like that. But if I'm just putting my foot on the gas and putting pressure on and representing wins turn after turn, at some point it's going to break.
Yes, 100%. I have to 100% agree. My brother, I just cannot wait for you to take this tournament scene by storm and really show what people can do when you take the time to be creative. And there's nothing wrong with net decking, but if you take the time and use your mind, find a deck that you're passionate about, and you're willing to put the time and energy to make it work, I think that's when greatness happens. And so I think
there's a lot to be said about Brewer's advantage too.
Yes,
because
I agree.
You know your deck in and out, and you know exactly what the game plan is, and it's so much harder to familiarize yourself with a deck that you've ripped off online and you've heard someone make a YouTube video about it and talk about it and whatever. I don't think there's a right way to play this deck or any other deck. Maybe there's core, let's say 80-85 cards that are
non-negotiable,
like the identity of the deck, or cards that are good, but there's obviously some play space where you can switch out an Abrade for a lightning bolt or something like that. You can always make it your own, so don't be afraid to do that. And
100%. Well, brother, I just want to say I honor you, I respect you, Logan, and I really appreciate you coming on, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem at all, brother. And I just want to say to the audience, if you're looking for more ways to support the channel, we have a plethora, starting off with our ThunderConductor proxies, both paperback and cardstock. It is my way to increase access to this amazing format called cEDH. We also have our ThunderConductor community. Join us for free on Discord, but if you also want extra perks, check us out on Patreon. It is an amazing way to get extra perks like getting yourself shout out here right on the stream. We have an amazing mono red patrons, Scott Mitchell, Wavy Ashira, and Nathan Stridham. You all rock and keep the lights on the way that you cannot even know. We also have our ThunderConductor merch. I wear it every day. It feels good, it looks good, and it's the thing that keeps you all snug at night. Lastly, if you say, AT, I don't want the merch, I don't want the Patreon, I don't want none of the proxies, I just want to say one time for the fun time, I love what you do and I want to support you. Don't worry. Check the link in the bio, buy me a coffee. It keeps the lights on and keeps me up. But with that said, we about to get right into this Maelstrom Wanderer gameplay. We will see you all soon. Check out the next video on your YouTube if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Twitch, stay tuned. Y'all be easy. Peace.